Greetings, friends around the world. This is Dr. Bob Thiel for the Bible News Prophecy channel. Have you heard of 6G? Yeah, it's sixth generation after 5G. Something people are working on right now. Now, is this something that you want to have microchipped into your body? Well, some people think so. This morning, somebody sent me a link. So let me read something from this article. The Chief Executive Officer of Nokia, Pekka Lundmark, has disclosed smart gadgets will be implanted into human bodies in the next 8 years as technological innovation will evolve into the sixth generation network, 6G. Lundmark said by 2030, the 6G network will replace the 5G wireless connection, which is currently being adopted across the world and planned for the Nigerian market in the second half of 2022. He projected 6G, which is currently under development, will make smartphones irrelevant upon completion. Nokia's chief executive made this known at the World Economic Forum, according to multiple media reports. The smartphone as we know it today will not be the most common interface. Many of these things will be built directly into our bodies. Money Central quoted Lundmark's explanation of the future of technology. Well, to me, that just sounds like another step towards 666. Now, decades ago, only the rich, very rich elites had cellular telephones, maybe some government agencies. Now, adults in most parts of the world seem to have smartphones. Now, it's interesting that the elites, and they're the ones, by the way, who attend the World Economic Forum conferences, are now talking about the idea of getting the masses of people microchipped. As far as 6G goes, I'd like to read a report about it. Beyond 5G, information and communication technology industries have already begun to develop the next generation of limitless wireless possibilities, 6G. Will have such incredibly fast speeds that no progress bars or wait times will be required for any normal amount of data, at least at today's standards. Everything will just be available instantaneously, and we won't need to keep making new terms to describe it. When will 6G come out? It's typical for a new mobile network standard to take the spotlight every decade or so. That means 6G networks might roll out sometime around 2030, or even a bit earlier in Asia and other areas that were the first to introduce 5G. Or at least that's what most telecom companies will be running trials, and we'll see phone manufacturers tease 6G capable phones. However, it's common for work to start as long as a decade prior to any real implementation of a new network technology, which might be why you'll start hearing about 6G before you even have your hands on a 5G phone. Japanese phone operator NTT Docomo predicts 6G will make it possible for cyberspace to support human thought and action in real time through wearable devices and micro devices mounted on the human body. Much of what makes 5G so great is its low latency of around 4 ms, but 6G networks might bring this down even further, maybe even to the point that we can safely say that there's virtually zero latency. Now, in other words, 6G, and whether they call it that or not, we'll see, will be so fast that basically everything will seem to be instantaneous. No waiting, for example, if you're downloading or crunching data or something along that line. Let me read one other thing about this. With 6G, there will be requirements to support trillions of embeddable devices and provide trustworthy connections that are available everywhere. Trillions of connections with embeddable devices? That's mind-boggling. Though some might find it convenient, the embeddedness and speed of 6G presents a real threat to privacy. There also might be a bunch of health risks, as this type of technology tends not to be tested to the point a real scientist can say it's totally safe for humans. Oh, I'm sure people will always say it is, but they haven't really fully tested it because they really can't. As far as being embedded goes, a while back, USA Today put out a picture of a hand explaining how microchips would work. Now, many think using or being embedded is a convenient way to pay. But I want you to consider the following that came out a few years ago. Thousands of Europeans who've had microchips embedded into their hands are at risk of their personal data being used against them. The scientist has warned the conveniences gained from the procedures by so-called body hackers do not outweigh the risks to their private data. Ben Liberton, a microbiologist at the Max 4 laboratory, told AFP, "At the moment, the data collected and shared by implants is small, but it's likely that this will increase. The more data is stored in a single place, as could happen with a chip, the more risk it could be used against us." Now, hacking is one concern, but control or surveillance by governments is another one. Now, the Bible says there's going to be a society that's going to become about that is controlling buying and selling. And that seems to be a prelude to 666. I'm going to read what the Bible talks about this in Revelation chapter 13, starting in verse 16 from the New King James Version of the Bible. "He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads. And no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of a beast, for it's the number of a man. His number is 666. Now, when the Apostle John was told to pen this, such control of buying and selling was not possible. You could meet somebody out in the forest, for example. You could buy and sell. They couldn't stop this. However, with computers and digital payments, it now is possible. Now, it's true you could still go out in the forest and do something, but you couldn't do a whole lot. And again, they're trying to control all currencies, and with 666 technology that we see with 5G, which is probably sufficient to do it, and now 6G, vast amounts of data can be accessed and processed extremely quickly. This gives big tech as well as governments massive surveillance potential consistent with the surveillance potential, or what's going to happen actually, according to the Bible, associated with 666 in Revelation 13. We are at the stage where more and more buying and selling can be controlled. Now, that doesn't mean that all microchips implants are wrong or necessarily the mark of the beast. But we have entered a time where technology certainly can fulfill aspects of the 666 prediction. Biblical prophecies are in the process of being fulfilled. This is Dr. Bob Thiel for the Bible News Prophecy Channel.